Well, hello, my fellow sovereign people of the Australian Commonwealth. I've just put together a short video of Wayne Glew versus the Council of Gerlaton, Western Australia, where for 16 years they have been trying to take Wayne's property in Gerlaton, Western Australia, when actually Wayne lawfully has the titles and deeds to that block of land, which means Wayne actually has paid for that block of land and he actually owns it freehold, which also means that councils or so-called local government don't have the authority to what they have done to Wayne in the last, say, month and a half. The games that these cretins and parasites are doing to Wayne is the last month or early this month they out of the blue sent Wayne some corresponding letters to say that they will be seizing his property. Wayne fired back at them and basically said you don't have the authority to do that under the binding constitution, the Constitution of the Australian Commonwealth, under section 106. Now what it also means is they fired back it again at Wayne, and just out of blue one day Wayne come home and there was some cattle fence put in the entrance of his driveway to the property, which stopped Wayne for a little while, but luckily Wayne has got very good friends there in Gerlaton and they helped Wayne out, as you'll see in the photos within this video. A few days later Wayne went out again and all of a sudden the city of Gerlaton decided to give Wayne some concrete building blocks for Wayne to have a play with. Well, once again, Wayne has got very good friends, and they were able to move these building blocks, which the council or so-called local government decided to place in the driveway once again, which restricted and stopped Wayne accessing his property. Now, once again, my fellow people, Wayne holds the lawful and legal and whatever you want to call it, deeds to this property. Once you own the deeds of a property, that property is yours. No one can lawfully touch it unless there are dire situations which reveal different things later on. But normally that sort of stuff is worked out, where this stuff is basically blatant out stealing from Wayne the property that Wayne actually lawfully owns. This also then caused Wayne to call his mates in again, and they dumped a truckload of dirt so that the council of Gerlaton could not put any other restrictions of access regarding Wayne's access to the property. When that was done, Wayne also then lawfully, under the Magna Carta Article 61, seized his property, which also means a stronger holding for Wayne Glew and his wife, that no one can touch that property, because Wayne has actually lawfully seized it under the Magna Carta Article 61, 1640. Now, as you'll see in the video, sorry, the wind's getting a bit strong here in Adelaide at the moment, so hopefully it's not drowning me out. The other things you'll see in the video is Wayne Glew just explaining different things about the binding constitution and sections of the Constitution, which I stress to you people, you must listen to and adhere to it and know it. Learn it off the tip of your tongue, because if you do question anyone or anyone ever questions you, you can basically let it flow out your mouth, and it will flow out your mouth because it is true. what Wayne tells you. Now, in the last video, I think it is, Wayne will actually show you the constitution that I seem to think that the Australian politics or politicians swear their oath to, and that is the Green Constitution, the revised Constitution, which is labelled the Australian Constitution. Now, the only strange thing about the Australian Constitution, or the green one, my fellow sovereign people, is they say it was revised by Quicken Garran, John Quicken and Robert Garran. But they must have dug them up or done something with them, because when the Green Australian Constitution was published, poor old John and Robert had actually been dead for many years before the Green Australian Constitution was revised and then printed. So that will also start to hopefully wake a lot of people up around Australia to the corruption which is infested our Parliament of Australia. Now, you also probably pick up that I pick on a lot of politicians. Now, the reason why I pick on a lot of politicians and senators is they all swear under the Green Constitution. They've already signed and their lawful oath to the Queen of Australia. We do not have a Queen of Australia, people. Please listen to what myself and Wayne and any other admin are saying, and also other groups are saying, to when it comes to the politicians, because they have already basically sworn their allegiance to a foreign government under section 44I of our binding constitution, the Constitution of the Australian Commonwealth. So that's enough for me. Hope you enjoy the short video I've put up, and I will ask you to also please share the link to this video. It is vital that this video gets out. Even with the court hearing yesterday on Tuesday the 11th in Gerlaton, Western Australia, once Wayne come out from the court, he was actually met with an ABC reporter and someone else who I'd call a bit of a gooseneck, who had the audacity to say or quote that the Magna Carta doesn't relate to Australia anymore. But there's also images getting around that there's a picture of or information about the Magna Carta which was in the background of different photos which were taken at the Gerlaton courthouse. But I may stand corrected if that is the actual courthouse where the Magna Carta information was. But it really makes you wonder, really, how these reporters think that the Commonwealth Constitution does not still apply, nor the Magna Carta still doesn't apply, when we have never ever had a referendum to repeal any of these lawful acts and the Magna Carta, which still apply, my fellow people, today. Thank you very much. Enjoy the video, and thank you very much, Wayne, for the hard work you've done. What I will also say is, if Wayne successfully wins this this case, sadly it won't go down as a precedent because it's only in the magistrate's court, but at the same time it then can be used in your lower court court cases, so your Supreme Court, your magistrate's court, your local court, things like that. It can't be used in a high court because the high court is actually the apex of the jurial system of the Commonwealth in Australia. So, but it will be able to be used in inferior court references. but I would say it will soon escalate to a High Court. My court case is going back to the High Court once I submit the paperwork, and I will let you know about that just as soon as I can. So thanks very much again. I hope you enjoy the video, and once again, please adhere to what Wayne is saying in his videos, the 3 videos to 4 videos Wayne has done, because there is a lot of vital information that you need to know for your interest and for your rights. It's very handy to know. Thanks very much, people, and we'll see you soon.
This document is evidence that on the 8th of August 2017, I, Wayne Kenneth of the family Glew, a living, breathing man, a lawfully sworn Commonwealth public official, seized my property at 1004 Chapman Road, Glenfield, Gerlaton, Western Australia, under the provisions of Clause 61 of Magna Carta. Magna Carta is law in this country under the Commonwealth Constitution Act 1900 UK and the Commonwealth Constitution 1901, as proclaimed and as accepted by the people of Western Australia and Australia by referendum, which means we the people joined in the Commonwealth of Australia, not we the government. The government doesn't rule over us, it rules for us. Anything else is blatant treason and theft and fraud and treason against the Crown of England. Politicians don't like the word treason because it means hanging or permanent jail for the rest of their lives, but they commit it daily. In 1999 we had a referendum, said we didn't want the Queen to be removed, we wanted to remain under the Crown. To remain under the Crown we have to remain under this, the Commonwealth Constitution, not their new version which they decided to print after we said no. They printed a nice new green one called the Australian Constitution, which is nothing but lies, fraud and nonsense. They call it legal. Legal is not lawful. Lawful means it applies to the law, our Constitution. Justice is the application of truth. Well, it's high time the courts applied justice being truth instead of legal being lies. Every magistrate, every judge, every politician, in fact, every single man, woman and child throughout the Commonwealth who exercises authority over another person must be able to, 1, state under what section of the Constitution they get that authority. 2, they have sworn the lawful oath of allegiance to the Queen, and which means they comply with Magna Carta, Habeas Corpus, 1688 Bill of Rights, the Statute of Monopoly, the 1700 Act of Settlement, King James Bible, Halsey's Laws of England, and Chalice Rule Property, which they do not. We have a picture which we have posted where we put an obstruction across our drive, which is a load of rubble. That obstruction signifies I have seized my property. The council are nothing but an unlawful ABN registered company, but they're registered outside of Australia. They come up through ASIC as recorded, but NRGD, which means not registered. We had a referendum in 1974 to add local government to the federal constitution. We said no. That's our constitution, the Commonwealth one. In 1979, every so-called parliament in this country added local government to their constitutions, meaning under 106 of the Commonwealth Constitution, those constitutions cease to exist in a lawful form. No magistrate, judge or court can rule otherwise. To rule otherwise is an act of treason against the people. Remember, they're there to serve us. You breached that oath that you made to serve us under Section 83 of the Commonwealth Criminal Code. You've breached it, that's treason. No oath of allegiance, you sit in our court, you're personating an officer of the Crown, contrary to 271 of the Commonwealth Criminal Code. That is personation of a Crown officer. You are not. You have no authority to sit. You use the Unlawful Australia Act. What happened to going to the people in a vote? You didn't, because you knew we would reject it. Bob Hawke is not Bob Hawke. He's Robert Edward Hawke. He was born to an Aboriginal mother and a Jewish father and holds Jewish citizenship. So under the so-called laws, which is the Constitution, Section 44, he's incapable of sitting, was incapable of sitting. How did he get the authority to sign off on the Australia Act? He didn't. He is a liar, he is a fraud, and he knows it. He is a traitor to this country because he's trying to turn it into a socialist dictatorship, and that is a fact. Just look at his speeches. Who cares what his speeches are anyway? They are doing it. Without our authority, they are stealing this country. It's time every minister in a church preaches that from the pulpit. The theft of God's country. This was claimed as the great south land of the Holy Spirit. You don't like that? Tough. You don't believe in God? One day you will. One day you will go to the biggest barbecue in history and you'll be the piece of meat. Wake up before it's too late. Wake up. They are taking this country. The unlawful laws they passed in 1999, changing the citizenship, which Australia has no authority to have a law in relation to citizenship, and they state that in their documents. They state they've been unlawful for a long time. Yes, since 1973, when Gough Whitlam sold us out to the Vatican without our permission. When they registered a company on the US Securities Exchange Commission without our permission. When they registered 27 other corporations of the Commonwealth of Australia without our permission. When are the people going to wake up? When are you going to tell your politicians you govern for us, not over us? 51 of the Constitution says, subject to this Constitution, the Parliament can pass laws for the good governance and well-being of the people of the Commonwealth of Australia. For, not over. Time you removed all your unlawful over laws and replaced them with for laws. Wake up to yourselves. You are sitting in fraud. Fraud vitiates everything. Everything you pass is gone. Thank you. To local government was so called. They are not. They are a registered company. They have an alliance with Western Australian Local Government Association. So Western Australian Local Government Association is a company. The City of Greater Gerlaton is a registered business. Doesn't matter what a court rules, it is. Now, earlier I referred to referendums. We had a referendum in 1988. The court ruled that didn't change the Constitution. I agree 100%. They were correct in that. But it did wipe out local government. The referendum was to get the people to answer 4 questions. The end result was to add 119A to the Commonwealth Constitution, our Constitution. We said no. No to the questions and no to adding it to our Constitution. So the court said, well, that didn't add it to our Constitution. Yes, I agree. But then some smart-aleck lawyer came on my Facebook page and said, well, we have to have a referendum to deny local government. Otherwise the state can do it. That is a lie. but you can't help it, you're a lawyer. The Bible condemns lawyers as deceivers of the people, liars, thieves and cheats. They fit that post, majority of them. I know a few who are good, honest, caring people who want to follow the law, but they're fed lies. The fact is, the first question was, do you authorise a continuance of local government? We said no. From then on you can't have it. The second question was, do you authorise the establishment of local government? We said no. From then on you can't have it. The other two questions were in relation to the empowering of local government. We said no. We, the people who are the Commonwealth, said no, you are not going to have it. Why then does the Parliament decide we're going to have it anyway and produce the acts, and they use thugs called magistrates and judges who are not lawfully sworn to force and inflict on us unlawful laws, which is exactly what they are? We have justices of the peace. They must be selected by the governor and sworn in by the governor. We don't have any of those anymore. The government controls them. We have judges in this state who are required to be selected by and sworn in by the governor of this state, the highest authority in the state. We don't have either. We don't even have a lawful governor. We have a gentleman whose religion allows him to swear a blood oath to Satan. How does he serve the crown and serve Satan at the same time? That's a bit of a nonsensical thing. But he was sworn in by Wayne Stewart Martin, who sat in our Supreme Court for 14 years and hadn't sworn the oath of allegiance. Is he required to? Absolutely. Did he? Absolutely not. He stated on the 21st of June 2011 in Frank Jasper Proprietary Limited versus Wayne Kenneth Glew and Glew Technologies that he had not sworn the oath of allegiance because he didn't have to. Well, sorry, Section 72 of our Constitution says you do. That and the letters patent for the office of governor put in place on the 29th of October 1900 by Queen Victoria, upheld by Queen Elizabeth in 2008 when she was here, states clearly you, Wayne Martin, have to be selected by the governor. You, Wayne Martin, have to take the oath of allegiance according to law, which was in our Constitution. Now, perhaps some intelligent politician or somebody who works for him or one of the law firms that are trying to negotiate around the parliaments of this country and state this: how do you sit in our parliament without swearing the oath of allegiance, which is to us through the crown? How do you do that? You don't. Anything outside of that is lies, nonsense, and it is unlawful. And it is an act of treason. Wake up, politicians. You are being used as pawns by the Liberal, Labor, National Greens, who are all traitors. You either swear an oath of allegiance or you're not sitting there lawful. There is no second place. You sit in our courts under the oath of allegiance. And please explain how, using the Oath Affidavits and Statutory Declarations Act, that you repealed the oath of allegiance from our state constitution, which is Schedule E, in 2005, when 106 of the Commonwealth Constitution says the states can retain their constitutions subject to this constitution and altered in accordance with the constitution. Can't you people understand English? What's the difference between alter, amend, change, and repeal? Repeal, yes. If you don't know, go and learn English. Amend is a minor alteration. Amend. Not remove, like you did with local government. You remove Section 52 of our state constitution with the electoral boundaries and replaced it with local government, contrary to the Commonwealth Constitution. If it's not in the Commonwealth Constitution, it cannot be in the state constitution. 106 of the Constitution states that. That is the law. Abide by our law or get out of our parliaments. You're collecting money by false pretences. Serve us, not your political parties. Political parties are blatant treason when you take the will of the people and replace it with the will of your political parties. Wake up to the fact you either serve us or you're serving traitors. To coin a phrase and start a new video, I state as follows. This is our law. The Commonwealth Constitution, derived from the Commonwealth Constitution Act 1900 UK, accepted by us, the people, by referendum. The government have no say in our Constitution. They think they do. What is the government of Australia? Well, first you've got to look at section 62 to 68 of the Commonwealth Constitution Act 1900 UK and the Commonwealth Constitution. It states that the Governor-General of Australia, an Australian head of state, who exercises the authority of the Crown to control unruly, unlawful, treasonous politicians. And we have a whole parliament full of them who think that they are the government. They are not the government, they are the legislature. They are the second tier of government. We have an executive, which is the Governor-General at federal level, and 10 members from the lower house, which is the House of Representatives, and 8 from the upper house, which is the Senate. Now, everybody says we got that. No, we don't. Those 18 hold all the portfolios. But the Constitution doesn't restrict them from sitting in Parliament. It does restrict them from voting in Parliament. Read your Constitution. Then, that executive, they put the laws together, along with the Attorney-General. Who is the Attorney-General? He's established under the Statute of Monopolies. He is a legal practitioner of more than 5 years. He is not a lawyer. Sorry, Brandis, you opted out of that one because you can't sit. Why have you gone overseas? To hide the fact that you blabbed the fact that Julia Gillard brought into the High Court rules the method of controlling our High Court. Those rules are not made by judges in the High Court. Why not? Why are they made by a committee? You admitted that in federal parliament when you were cross-examined by Rod Gerlaton. And then you went out and you lied and you made sure you got rid of him pretty quick using lies, fraudulent acts. Now let's look at the truth. Laws are put together by the Governor-General and that council. They are put to the lower house of the federal parliament called the House of Representatives. People that are there who represent us the people, not you the political parties. You don't get to put laws together. They're not your laws. They're laws under section 51 subsection 1. They are compliant with our Constitution. You don't like that, go find somewhere else to live, preferably to the South Pole. That would be nice. You do not get to say what laws go through. You get to debate laws put together by our executive government. That executive government looks at what you do, watches over what you do, and has the federal police under their control, according to law, to arrest you if you fail to comply with our will being our Constitution. Why aren't they there? They're too busy protecting politicians instead of locking them up. Why haven't they locked you up? You are criminals. Are you? Look at the dribble that came on TV this morning from Scott Morrison about how our party, your party, you're not the party, you're not the government. You are the second tier of government. You are there to debate and pass legislation according to our Constitution. If it complies and comes out of the Senate, compliant with our Constitution, it goes to the Governor-General, who signs it and stamps it with a royal seal, not that kangaroo and emu nonsense put in place by Billy Hughes in 1907, the lawful one with the Lion of Judah and the unicorn, that one. He signs off on behalf of the Crown a law made pursuant to our Constitution. That law binds the Crown because it is made to our Constitution. That is why we have a Governor-General there, to make sure the system works. It's called protection for the people. Don't believe me? Go and look at the division of powers. And it's under Section 70 of the Constitution. Section 71 of the Constitution lays out the fact that the judicature, the third tier of government, not local government, not those lying thieves that are only companies that have taken possession of our land without authority, look at what they are there for. Why? How does a judge perform in court? He is an adjudicator between the law and the people in a case that is before him. He is not there to say the government said this, the government said that, I'm under this, I'm under that. You're under our Constitution, Chapter 3. Like it or lump it. Contempt the court is an arrogant disregard for the authority and the procedure of the court. This is the authority, the Constitution. Without that, you don't exist. The procedure is found in Chapter 3. Don't like that. Read Cable versus the Director of Public Prosecutions, Forge versus ASIC, and so on. All states, there have to be Chapter 3 courts. What is a court? Chief Justice French in Lane versus Morrison, HCA 29 of 2009, at paragraph 20 says a court is a gathering under the sovereign. Then please explain how judges who haven't sworn an oath of allegiance to the Queen gather under the sovereign. They don't. They gather under idiot political parties. You're an idiot if you don't read our Constitution and don't understand where your authority comes from. What is a judge? What is a magistrate? What is a politician? They scream out parliamentary privilege. What is that? Where does it come from? Go back. Where do magistrates come from? Where do police come from? Look at your 1688 Bill of Rights and the Statute of Monopolies. That's where it comes from. Oh, we don't have that anymore. We sealed that. Yeah? Good luck with that one. How did you seal it? With lies, deceit, treachery, treason, and fraud on the people. No other way. You brought out a nice new green constitution called the Australian Constitution. Nothing but a load of nonsense. You use Section 51, subsection 38 of the Constitution. It basically says, with the conferral of the parliaments of the states, the Commonwealth can exercise, or the federal parliament can exercise authority at its federation. Quick and Garron says it didn't have any, because on the proclamation of the Constitution, the old entities known as the Australasian Council and the colonies ceased to exist. So we had 4 months and 25 days running on imperial law. Imperial law run the courts, the magistrates, and the police. That's why it's there. They are imperial acts. Where does a parliament that serves the people get the right to overturn imperial acts or change them or alter them? We had local courts or magistrates' courts, being courts of petty sessions run by lawful magistrates, right up until you changed it to the Magistrates' Court Act in 2004. The oath of allegiance contained in the Western Australian Magistrates' Court says, I, whoever, do solemnly swear or affirm, I will well and truly serve the people of Western Australia, the people and the state of Western Australia. The state of Western Australia is created under the Acts Amendment Repeals Court and Legal Practice Act. It is a company. The people is the state created under 107, 108 and 109 of our Constitution. So we have two states. You're serving the people that are the state and the state being the corporation. Oxymoron? Absolutely. Where does that oath come from? The Oaths, Affidavits and Statutory Declarations Act of 2005, Western Australia, which purports to remove the oath of allegiance in the state constitution to the lawful monarch of this country. That is Schedule E. Who gave her that right? Oh, we repealed it. Boo-hoo. 106 of our Constitution says that Constitution continues subject to the Commonwealth Constitution and altered alteration. What is that? The state constitution at Federation said the governor selects 10 from the lower house and 7 from the upper house. An alteration was to bring the 7 to 8 to comply with this constitution. Every imperial act applies in this country subject to our constitution. Everything else is a lie and nonsense. A lie and nonsense. Get it? Local government in our state constitution, a lie and nonsense. Has no authority. None until we grant it. We were asked in 1974. We said no. We were asked in 1988. We said no to the continuance, no for the establishment, and no to the empowering. Get rid of it. It doesn't belong there. If you think sitting in our federal parliament that you have the authority to allow another tier of government, then you're a liar and a fraud. An absolute liar and a fraud. Your new constitution, your green one, says there's 3 tiers of government in this country. Federal, state and local. Liar. The book is a lie. You're a liar if you pronounce that book. You're a traitor to us. Our constitution says we have 3 tiers of government at a federal level. Executive, legislature and judicature, which is our court system. And that is, through Section 70, has a separation of powers. Read it, understand it, learn it and abide by it. At a state level, we have an executive, me and the governor, who selects 10 from the lower house, 8 from the upper house. They hold the portfolios exactly the same as at a Commonwealth level, federal level. We have a legislature, a legislative assembly and a legislative council. If you don't have one like those clowns in Queensland, you don't have a lawful parliament. You don't get to decide whether it's lawful. You have a judicature in each state. And under Section 52, paragraph 52 of the cable decision known as the cable principle, because of its precise division of our constitution and explanation, that says all courts are part of a federal judicial system with a high court at its summit. Our courts are bound through 107, 108 and 109 to comply with our constitution. That is sit under the decisions of the High Court. There is no precedence from lower courts. Lippahar versus the Queen, 1999, HCA 65 says decisions of the Supreme Court of a state do not form part of the common law. They don't. They're no precedents, no nothing. That's nonsense. The only thing that sets a precedence and forms part of the common law is the decision of our court, the High Court. Chapter 3 of the Constitution, page 791 in this one, states that. It also states, if a law contravenes our Constitution, it's a nullity and affords no obedience. It's in excess of the authority granted to the Parliament to pass. Not to make, to pass. Read it. Page 791, the middle of the last paragraph says, neither the federal nor the state parliament are sovereign bodies, they are only legislatures with limited authority. If they attempt to pass a law in excess of that authority, the law is a nullity and affords no obedience. Your laws that don't comply with our Constitution are a nullity, afford no obedience. 676 states, the parliaments are not supreme. They, like the people, are subject to the Constitution and the laws and must abide by it. Abide by our laws, our Constitution. Don't like it, get out of the job we are paying you to do because you are not doing it. Time to wake up, Australia. I'm not telling lies. If you find any faults in what I'm saying, then you tell me. I will read it up in the Constitution, correct you if you're wrong, or correct me if I'm wrong, and come back on here with another video and state that fact. This is not about me promoting me. This is about me doing what I set my whole life about doing. Promoting the laws, the lawful laws of this country, and getting people to look at them and adhere to them. Time you woke up and forced your politicians to represent you. Why do we have an opposition to the House of Representatives in federal parliament? Who are they opposing? Us? Wake up. Shorten sits there, lies like a little rat bag. It's like some dribbling fool yesterday. Call it. Call what? Won't they call her? Sit down and shut up until you got something lawful to say. Lawful, not legal, which is lies. I thank you for the people, the 62,000 people up until now who have looked at what I've said previously. I hope you've learnt something from it. If you find a fault in what I've said, don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you. This is my last video before I attend court on 11th of December, being next Tuesday. Last Wednesday about 5 o'clock I received this book. It's a copy of the political party's edition of our Constitution called the Australian Constitution. And it's a revised edition of this, apparently by Quick and Garran. And unfortunately Quick and Garran have been dead for a lot of years. A hell of a lot of years. Unless they borrowed Jules Verne's time machine and went back and got approval, it doesn't exist. I have this document which I filed in the court on 7th of August. It is a document from Dun & Bradstreet, a reputable company, if you call it that. It reveals 18 companies called the Commonwealth of Australia registered in different districts in America. One of those companies owns a registered company called the Australian Air Force. That's interesting. The Royal Australian Air Force is a company registered there. But what people don't realise, on the 23rd of June 2011, in the Supreme Court of Western Australia in front of Justice Corboy, I tricked the State Solicitor, Mr. Leith, into admitting that my name in capital letters and the name in the case called the Governor of Western Australia was all a legal fiction, including the governor they put before the court. And he then made me the representative or the adjudicator for that legal fiction. Now, how does that work? You, your family, your cars, your trucks, your planes, your boats, your kids, every single thing you own is not yours. You are a legal fiction and you live in these companies in America. Only you don't know it. Some say your birth certificate, your driver's license, everything of that is true. But what you don't know is all the land you are paying for belongs to those companies according to the registrar of the companies. Your councils are companies. They are recorded with ASIC, but they're not registered because they're all registered here. Why is that? Because the land that you're paying for, people are working, two different people in the family, the wife and the husband are working their guts out to pay for a land that you don't own. You reside in their houses that you are paying them off. And at the same time, you are renting that house back. Where is the rent? It's called rates. You are paying to their company to live on your property. Their version is you miss 3 years rent and they can take the property off using their rules. Not laws, their rules. Unfortunately, I've discovered exactly what they've done, how they've done it, and are going to propose to the court a series of things that I've put in place which I can do as a Commonwealth public official or representative of the Crown, the only authority in this country under this Constitution, ours, not the green one, ours, which establishes the Commonwealth, which we are. The states are the people in designated areas. They are lying to you. You are at present, by paying rates, renting your property off all these companies, 18 of them. You, according to them, and everything you own is in America, and it belongs to these companies. A company has to own something to belong. It's you. Wake up. People don't like some of the things I've said in the previous videos. They don't like what I've written because I refer to politicians as liars, thieves, everything else I can lay my tongue to because I'm angry. Angry, why? Because I can see them stealing our country, stealing everything On paper, they've already got it. They want a republic to sign off and say, now we have you, you suckers, we've taken it. Politicians I feel sorry for now, because I realise they've been kept in the dark and fed nothing but bulldust, treated as mushrooms. That's all they are. They have advisors that lie to them, and they pronounce those lies, sign off on those lies, and try to put them in as laws, but they're not. They're acts and statutes. They're jokes. They're de facto laws. They don't exist lawfully. It's time people woke up. You will find out in my next video, which won't be until after the court case. At this time, you own nothing. You are paying rent where you reside, which is their property that belongs to them under their companies. Wake up. Because we had two referendums. The second referendum in 1988, we said no to the continuance of local government, no to the continuance of local government, no to the establishment of local government, and no to the empowering of local government. No means no. The state constitution must comply under 106 to the Commonwealth Constitution. It does not. As soon as you add local government to it, it no longer complies. It is unlawful.
In the eyes of the majority, though, the courts and local governments do hold the power. Why don't they hold power for you?
Because the local government is a registered company under the total control of Western Australian Local Government Association. So they're not a local government. They're a registered company.
The courts are owned by the people, not the government.
No, just stay up to you.
But your property is being sold. That's what I understand.
No, it's not getting sold because I have it held under Clause 61 of Magna Carta. They can't touch it. They fenced it, I threw the gates away. They put concrete blocks there, I threw them away. I've blocked it, I own it, I paid for it.
But the council has repossessed it.
They can't repossess it without a court order. Where's the court order? There is no court order.
There was an appeal made? No,
that's nonsense. The appeal was made on the grounds that the Magistrates Court Act Section 35 contravened Section 75(5) of the Constitution. It's on YouTube. It says high treason and fraud in the Supreme Court of Western Australia. There was never an appeal against the decision because Magistrate Sharrett said he's not going to find for me and he's not going to find against me. So the council then decided I owe them $49,000. I didn't because there was no court order, and there still is no court order. They're saying the Local Government Act gives them the right to carry out a judicial function, sign a bit of paper and take your land. Clause 39 of Magna Carta says only a trial by jury can do that. Only a trial by jury, no one else.
Yeah.
So they're lying.
Why do you think the Magna Carta applies in Australia though?
Under clause 5 of the Constitution, every law is binding on the courts, judges and people of every state, every single one.
Magna Carta is an English document.
The Magna Carta, we are a self-governing colony of England under clause 8 of the Constitution.
But that no longer, it's been said in court that no longer applies. Magna Carta is no longer relevant.
Well then, whoever says that is a traitor. Because clause 5 binds them to that.
But if the majority composes...
No, the majority that's not a law, it's an act. It's an act. It is not a law. It has to be stamped with a royal identifier. not that piece of garbage up there, which is a kangaroo court.
Hear, hear.
That's all it is.
When they sign off on the property that the city of Gerlaton now have repossessed, well, what are you going to do?
I've already, before they did, seized it under Clause 61 of Magna Carta. They must take that to a lawful court established under the Constitution. This Magistrates Court is not. Read the Magistrates Court Act states that in the case of the magistrate, whoever his name is solemnly swear or affirm that he will serve the people of Western Australia and the state of Western Australia. Now, the problem with that is that's made under the Oath Affidavit and Statutory Declarations Act, which repealed Schedule E to the state constitution, the Oath of Allegiance. 72 of the Constitution says they must swear the Oath of Allegiance before they take their oath of office. You're sitting in treason. Every magistrate, every judge in this state, there is only one lawful judge present in this country, that's Justice People in the High Court. She swore the Oath of Allegiance.
Everyone else seems to be able to follow these magistrates and the judges of Australia's rules. Why can't you?
Who gives them the right to make rules? They are there to pass judgment between the law and the people in the case that's before them. Section 71 of the Constitution states that. That is our binding document. It's the supreme document in this country. And it's binding on everyone. I don't care what the court says. The court, they sit in there and lie constantly every day. They don't like that too bad. We've had 14 years of one of the biggest liars ever put on two legs, Wayne Stewart Martin. He admitted on the 21st of June 2011 that he had not sworn the Oath of Allegiance to the Queen because he didn't have to.
But they're no longer required to.
Come on.
The Constitution says yes they do. The High Court in HCA 44 of 2006 states very, very clearly not only permanent judges but temporary judges must swear the Oath of Allegiance before they take their oath of office. No oath, no authority. No exercise of authority inside the Commonwealth of Australia can be made except under the provisions of the Constitution. End of the story. Thank you.
Here, one.
That's why the Magna Carta applies.
And I'm just going to say one thing. You want to heed what he says. He's right, they're wrong.
And I'm a Commonwealth public official. I am a sworn officer of the Crown. And they are totally ignoring the law.
Where do you swear that? How do you swear to be a
Well, you don't know anything about it.
No, hang on. On the 6th of January 1975, I swore an oath of allegiance before the Governor of Western Australia to uphold the laws of the Crown. That is a covenant between me and the Crown of England. Through the British Accreditation Registry, I must uphold the coronation oath of the Queen. That doesn't die until I die. I upheld that. I re-swore the oath when I took the oath of office of a Commonwealth public official on the 16th of January 2012. I was awarded the OWB for research into the common law of this country and our Constitution. I teach constitutional law. These clowns don't even know what the Constitution is. Have you ever seen it?
No, I haven't. So thank you for your time.
They
don't even teach it in the schools.
No, they don't.
Making comments about what they say. You need to read it. You'll
And I've got one of those. That's the Australian Constitution.
Here. Yep, that's
Can you
it.
take photo to everyone, please?
Yep. Everyone has to get them for a photo.
down deep, 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 deep. Get down deep, deep, deep.
that's left that hasn't been stolen that was thrown out here by workers from the council. This is the stuff that is before the court on application to sell, and they want me to pay for storage while it's thrown out here being destroyed. They want me to pay for the storage of it. The insanity of it is, where's the beds and cupboards that were here a couple of weeks ago? All stolen. All while under the control of the council, so-called. Who gives them the right to sign a piece of paper and take possession of someone's property? Go in the back and look at what the destruction in the house of these people who so-called have this under their care and control. What have they done? Allowed criminals to come in here, allowed criminals to literally, look at that, destruction of the locks, destruction of the door. In here, in here. Destruction of the room, the lining, the walls, destroyed while under the so-called control of the council. Destruction of the lounge room and removal of materials while under the control of the so-called council, a registered company. Come upstairs. The destruction of the walls and the removal of all the materials while under the control of the so-called council. Come here. Destruction of the walls and removal of all the cupboards and the roof while under the control of the so-called council. Why? How is the council responsible and claiming ownership when it doesn't even look after it? Then they want to sell it. To who? One of their friends? Rumour has it they want $140,000 for my property. They claim there's a court order for $146,000. That is a lie. 2 days later, I get another notice from them for $295,800. How come it doubled overnight? How does that work? Extortion, theft, all the time. They do not even comply with their own act. Their act is, local government establishes a body corporate, ACN number. They have an ABN number, not registered with ASIC but recorded because it's an overseas company. They have damaged, destroyed and stolen my property. And I am sick of it, and I'm right now going to the police in Gerlaton and filing a complaint to see if they are finally going to do their job. I will notify everybody on Facebook, on the internet, on YouTube of the destruction of my property, the theft of my property, all my personal goods thrown out there and destroyed, my workshop destroyed and emptied by a pack of lunatics who are out of control, who think they control this company. What happened to representative government? What happened to service to the people? We have none. We'll be overrun by thieving liars who extort money out of us for nothing and take what we have. To all those people that got angry looking at the destruction of my property, thank you. But please, whatever you do, stay calm. Send letters to your local members, to anybody you want. Stir them up, fine. Please do not resolve yourselves to violence. They will use it against you. This document here explains why these clowns are getting away with what they're doing. This is a document about the separation of powers. and it says that it's important that the judiciary stays separate from the government. Then it tells us that the courts can speak laws into being. The Constitution is very clear, they can't. HCA 29 of 2009, Chief Justice French says Australian courts are not legislative courts, so how can they speak legislation into being or laws into being? They can't. This piece of pseudo-legal nonsense, which is put around by Wayne Martin, this is one of his pseudo-legal theories of absolute dribble, because he doesn't have the intellect to put something intelligent into place. This states that the Parliament is supreme. The problem with that, and for you, Mark McGowan, you are a lying little traitor who doesn't have the guts to stand up and tell the truth. There is no such thing as the supremacy of government. Page 676 of our Constitution says the parliaments are not supreme. The very essence of federation is that that must be so. The parliaments, like everybody else, are bound to the law and must abide by it. Does that sink into your thick little skull? You are not supreme. You are not sovereign because page 791 says so. Neither the federal nor the state parliament sovereign bodies are only legislatures with limited authority. So a Christmas present from you. Get your backside out of our parliament, you idiot. We want someone with a brain there. And as for you balancing the books for the first time in 9 years, what are you, stupid? You think we didn't realise that the gift from those clowns in federal parliament of the handing back a GST is what's going to put you in the blue? That's all it is. Nothing that you've done. All you've done is spend, telling us, oh, look, we've got a huge, big state debt left by the last party. The last party is no better than you. Their theories on your position in our parliament. You are there to debate and pass laws. The governor sits in council. 18, he takes out of the parliament. They put laws together, not political parties. Not your stupid lies and theories that come out of you and that bird brain Wayne Martin, who doesn't have the guts to tell the truth. Why are you paying $10,000 for 1 day's work a week to sit there and do nothing? Why is that idiot paid? Why isn't he behind bars where he belongs? Oh, the cell would be crowded because you'd be there with him. Mark my words, Mark McGowan, you are going to jail for the rest of your life. It's called treachery to overturn the Constitution. Section 24AA of the Crimes Act. The penalty is 25 years in jail. I want to see you get it. I don't hate you. I don't even dislike you. I pity you for your lack of intellect. You try to put over you've got a brain, you lack one. Try pulling our courts into gear. Make them comply with our Constitution. Make them sit under our Constitution. Get rid of the local government we said you can't have. Angry? No. Disappointed that an idiot like you can sit there and say I'm serving the people when you are serving your company, your political party, your ideas, not ours. How do you serve the people when you do not follow the ideals of the people?